Hello folks, the video I'm making today is about eyeglasses. My name is Reed. I recently started buying prescription glasses like these, and I found a lot of the videos online had information that were from other companies and seemed kind of sponsored or had like they had a vested interest. I have bought all of these on my own. I have zero affiliation with any of these companies that I'm going to be talking about, and I mainly wanted to talk about some things like the cases, like the lens material, lens types, frame material, nose pads, and then I'm planning to go over some of the pricing and such at the end. The first glass I wanted to talk about were these ones. They're a plastic frame. I should say a metal frame with a plastic lens. And the reason I wanted to talk about them is because of this, the sizing information. Most glasses on the side, you'll see 53, 18, 142. Most of them will have some size like that on the side. And that's giving an indication of how they're going to fit on your face. Zenni here does have a size guide that they show what those numbers mean. In this case, 56, 18, 135. 56 would be the size of the lens, one of the lenses. 18 would be the size of the bridge in the middle. 135 would be the temple length, so how they fit around your ears. Pupillary distance is something that they talk about as well, and you need for prescriptions. And it gives you an idea of how glasses fit. The main thing about this pupillary distance, PD, is that most of the glasses, they try to fit that they have it so the center of the lens, like you'd see here, the center of the lens would be over the center of your eye. Of course, there are exceptions to that. Some people like a different style, but that's what I found anyway. I generally have my eyeballs that are centered in the lens. With sunglasses, it won't matter as much as normal glasses, clear glasses. But the reason I share this is that this frame, this particular frame, I like the style of. I liked how they looked. So I tried to find additional glasses that look like this. They were about $15 online. Like I said, they're non-prescription. They're nice and light. They're plastic with a plastic nose pad. You can see they do discolor over time. And I really like those. I liked them a lot, and I like the polarization. I believe you can tell if they're polarized by, for example, holding up to a screen. So if you're driving or doing stuff with a lot of screens, you might not want polarized. Say you have an iPad, and if you turn it the wrong way, you might not be able to see your iPad if you're working, for example, with it, or different screens if they're the wrong way. The next glass I'll talk about, prescription eyeglasses, are these Warby Parker glasses. And I've liked these ones. I thought they looked fairly nice on me. They fit my face. Warby Parker was a nice store to work with, really friendly people. I like going in there. But one of the things that they had there is a lot of defects. For example, the first pair I had cracks on the side for polarization. Another pair, this was melted in a way that made it so the glasses didn't fit my face right. And basically I had multiple issues, multiple pairs that I went through until I got this pair. With a lot of these, you can get anti-reflective coatings on them. You can usually see like a purplish or green tint. So basically, this prevents glare from behind from hitting my eyeballs. This would be an example of one without that. You can see maybe how much more glare that they give. So I did pay extra for that on these. Another thing with these plastic frames is that the nose for me slips down my face. They're not grippy. They're kind of just a hard plastic. So I did add these nose pads on there that help prevent it from slipping down. There are different styles of nose pads. This one I got looks like this, which is good for these one piece, so to speak, glasses. They do come off. You can kind of see it's coming off on the other side, so I'll replace those. But overall, I like these glasses. I do like the polarized, and I think with most cases, these are my most used glasses for everyday driving, going out for walks, stuff like that. These other ones that I use a lot, I use these for work. So if you're using heavy equipment, that something like this, I think, is with a gradient is nice. The reason I say that is I fly airplanes for work and I have to look outside a lot. This gives a nice blocking of the sun. And then the bottom side, I can still see the equipment that I need to program. So I think if you operate heavy equipment that you need to look at buttons you're pressing, I think these gradient lenses are a great option. I also wanted to try a one-piece frames or kind of frames like this, these thin wire frames. So these are really flexible and really comfortable and light. One of the problems I have with them is they're hard to get compact. So if you put them in your shirt pocket, they don't really fold up very nicely. Unlike a more traditional pair of glasses that fold up in the store easily. So these ones are from Zenny. I use that same size information. I try to just get the biggest lens, so they're kind of ugly. I wish they had a style lens, maybe like this one that you could get like these sunglasses, or maybe something like that, cut out like that as well. So I think they're kind of ugly, but I do like these gradient of the lenses. I also do like the rubber grip, the nose pad. It makes it so it stays on really easily, and sometimes they're so light and comfortable, I forget that I'm even wearing them. So these are probably my second most worn ones. My third most is what I'd say are these ones. These I got from AliExpress. They are prescription as well. They say they're a titanium frame. They're pretty light, and these ones have the brand name is Transition, but they're not really. They have another word for that, which I'm gonna pull that up. All right, the technical term is photochromatic. Basically, when you're outside in the light, the sun will cause them to change colors, get basically darker, become sunglasses like something like this darkness. So one of the things about these photochromatic glasses is that they're not quite as clear as, say, the pair behind them. They don't get quite as clear, and they don't work inside of cars for the most part. So if you're using heavy equipment, so when I'm working, for example, it doesn't clear in the airplane, and I'm guessing that most places, most heavy equipment, probably will block the UV rays so that they won't tint. So these I mostly use if I'm going for a walk in the evening when it's going to be sunset, or if I just want to bring one pair of glasses out in. I'll just bring this pair because I can use them, say, in the evening or in the middle of the day when it's sunny, and in the evening just for driving back home if I'm going for, say, a hike or something like that. But they don't get quite as dark as normal sunglasses, so my first most used pair is these ones, and these for my normal driving, for my normal hiking, normal use is what I use the most, just a fixed polarized lens. One of the interesting thing about these cheaper glasses, this is from AliExpress as well, is that most of these also put the anti-glare on them. So you can see it's kind of purplish, greenish, that it's doing a decent job of minimizing those glares. I did want a titanium nose pad, and you can see it there, but I did put the anti-slip pads on there because titanium, I didn't think about this, but it's so slippery. It's just a slippery metal. So these slip down my face too much if I only use the titanium pads. And that would be a reason why that I would say that these rubberized pads are probably better, even though they might not look as nice. They think they function a lot better to prevent that sliding. Let's see here. This will be my next pair I'll talk about. This, I think, is probably a brand name, technically, that maybe the AliExpress is kind of copying, because most of them, if you type in Lindbergh or you type in Dutch titanium glasses, you'll find this style. So I think they must have a trademark or patent or something on this company, because these were not that expensive. But they're really comfortable. I did have a problem with these here. I'll see if I can show it, where I bought them and, well, I can't really show it, but they're tinted. So they didn't come like that, but they tint them in the factory. And I didn't know they had a bunch of colors for them. I just asked for regular black lenses. So they said they double dyed them. They dyed the lenses to make them there, but that made them so they weren't really usable. The dye did not dry or did not adhere perfectly flat, so it was wavy, and these glasses made them worse than no glasses at all. So I couldn't use them; they're unusable. But these would probably be my favorites if they worked, and if I got them again, because of my job, I would use them for work. I would get a gradient lens like this instead of a single lens, and just ask for gray. So if the company asks, or you're trying to select them, regular gray is just kind of regular. This would be like a regular gray one right there. So anyway, these were a little bit too wavy. They're defective. And the problem I had on these as well, AliExpress promises that they have different customer guarantees, but they would not refund me on them, because it's kind of hard to prove a prescription glasses are defective just by looking at them, because they're so precise. The cutting has to be so precise that um, you can't really prove it. So they didn't give me my money back. I had to go through the credit card, and that was a hassle. So I didn't use AliExpress for a long time after that, until like a week ago. And I got those more than 6 months ago. These were my previously well-used eyeglasses. They were a gift from a student of mine, and they're American Optic. I don't really know what they paid for them. They might have been $100 10 years ago, but I don't know what they are now. And they've since, of course, broken and are no longer usable. I did have some stuff on it. These ones tended to slip down quite a bit as well, kind of like some of those other ones with the nose pads. And the ear, the temple, I don't know what those are called, but the temple pieces, they got cracked and discolored. Overall, I did like them. I guess there's one other thing about this AO that I thought was kind of weird, which is that I felt like the angles were wrong on these. That this part here just kind of angled down. I'd rather it be kind of straight. So I thought it looked kind of weird. It was my opinion anyway of it, that I didn't really exactly like the symmetry. They felt like they were kind of the wrong angle, instead of, should have been tilted a little bit. The other thing about these is these have glass lenses. I thought I wanted glass lenses, and they did hold up really well. You can see, even for 5 years, they held up really well. I've dropped them. You can see a little nick right in the middle, and they're very well used. But the glass lenses are heavier. They're notably heavier than all of these other glasses that I have here. So they slide down my face, even more than pretty much any of them, just because of how heavy they are. So I do appreciate the plastic lens now in hindsight after getting all these other plastic ones, just because of how light they are, even though they aren't as durable and won't last as long. Next pair I'll talk about is this pair. This is from iBuyDirect. And you can see the size there, 58, 18, 145. So even though a lot of mine are the 18 on the middle number, that 58 are just slightly wider, such that they just, in my view, don't look as good on my face. They're just a little slightly too wide. So that's one of the problems with the online trying, the testing, is that you don't know exactly if it's going to work or not until you get it. A lot of them have good return policies, but I needed this pair in a short amount of time, and so I kept it. But I don't use them at all just because I don't like how they fit. Like I said, the pupils should be right centered in the lenses in general, unless you're wanting some fashion ones or wanting something kind of funky, or sunglasses doesn't really matter as much. But this one, my pupils are just a little bit too on the inside, just making them look big and not fit. This has the same thing as well with the plastic nose pads, which slip. So I would recommend something to grip for those if you do get something similar. My last pair that I'm showing here, and I don't use these very much, mostly just because I like the other ones better. But these ones are good as well. These are prescription, and I also got these from AliExpress. And this is the brand name of these. I had no problem with these, nice and light, comfortable, and I was also buying to try them out. This one has that titanium nose pad as well, which I put on those plastic rubber slip reducer pads. And these are regular clear ones. They do still have the anti-glare on them on the front and back of the lens, even though it didn't really ask if I wanted that. I just did the standard lens. A lot of these on AliExpress, or a number of them anyway, you have to buy the frame and then select lenses as well. And this was one of those that they kind of separate. You have to add them to the cart at the same time, then they'll cut them out and get them selected for you. Let's see here. I'll talk a little bit about the cases. Zenny had a really ugly case, in my opinion. This is the ugliest, least usable case. It's just so bulky and huge. I don't really like this case. I don't use it, but at least they do have a little felt lining or something inside of there. Zenny also did come with some accessories, including some extra nose pads and screws and such. Warby Parker, I thought, had a pretty good case here. They came with both of these. I like their lens cleaning cloth the best. You should always use the lens cleaning cloth that comes with the glasses. Never your shirt, never anything else. When I went to Warby Parker, they told me that the glasses they expect maybe will last a year or two, which in my view is a short time, even with that anti-scratch protection that they have and everything. I thought their case was just fine. I liked it. It's a kind of a hard case, and it looks nice. Some magnets in there. This case here is just really bulky and big, but it works just fine. Like I said, I don't use these glasses at all though, because they're blurry. This case I thought was nice. The reason I say that is because it's small, compact. It fit in there really nice. Glasses. This is, I thought, was a nice case as well. A magnet, and it just feels nice. Fairly medium size, I would say. This wood case I got here on AliExpress, this was maybe $15 to $20. And I really like this one. I just think it looks nice, and it is, as far as I know, it's real wood. And then this one is one of my favorites as well because it's firm, still has that magnet, and this one's really compact and easy to store without worrying about things being damaged. So I went over a bit of the lenses, the frame material. I should say that these are plastic, this is metal. This they say is titanium, nice and light and comfortable. Titanium, nice and light and comfortable. These are the most comfortable, just the hardest to store because of these temples. So if you're going to be wearing glasses all the time, I think these are great. But if you take them on and off, I would get something with a more traditional either hinge or something like this. These are also titanium, pretty light. They say they're titanium anyway. You never really know. These ones titanium. These ones plastic. They feel heavier. These ones are light enough as far as the frame, but the glass lens is a bit heavier. And these ones are pretty light. And I think I went over most of that. Of course, you got different accessories that come with them that I talked a little bit about, as well as these nose pads, the anti-slips. So this style here is good for the plastic type of lens, like frames like this. This other style like this is a little better for these maybe teardrop type of nose pads. And these are other additional accessories that various companies, some of them just sent them along with the glasses that I got. Let's see, as far as pricing, these were from AliExpress as well. These are like $2 to $4 for a set of them. And you know, this would be a set here. And the rest of the glasses here, I'm gonna show them online as well. These were about 80 bucks from Zenni when you include the anti-glare, the gradient, and all that. It comes with the case. I think part of the reason they come with an ugly case is they have an upgrade. For $4 extra, you can get a better case. If it's the only case, I'd probably pay that and get them. These were around $250. And from these Warby Parkers, this had the polarization, the anti-glare on the front and back. I do think the anti-glare is nice. And I think I paid around 100 myself because the insurance covered the other 150 or however they negotiate that. This one does has anti-glare as well as the oil and smudge protection. I think the anti-glare is nice, like I said, and then scratch protection, of course, you're going to hope you get it. I think Zenni includes the scratch protection, and I got the oil, I think it's called oleophobic coating on these, just because I wanted it easier to clean. These ones here were, I believe, about, well, I could even pull it up really quick. These ones are about $40, and these were the photochromatic lenses. Like I said, I've liked those. Those are from AliExpress. These were also from AliExpress. These were about, I'd say about $50. And of course, prescription as well. But I would not recommend this seller as Bobby's Glasses store just because they had a problem and didn't resolve it. I said these were about $15, and I thought they were just perfectly good to see different glasses. These are about $100. They sell them for about $250 now. I don't know that I would pay that. And they were a gift even in the first place, but that seems pretty expensive to me. These are roughly $80, and the reason I got those is they had 2 days shipping, and it included, they only had certain glasses that you could get shipped that fast, and that's why I got these ones. I don't think they had the anti-glare on those that I remember. You maybe can see a little bit more glare, but I'm not certain because I got those a while ago. And these were about $30 if I remember right. And the same thing, you gotta select the lenses and the frames separately. I'll go over here to kind of show them on the website. So these are what I got, the Santiago Wide. This Warby Parker, they were really friendly and nice. They're really good to work with. And I was able to just try them all in store. Nice way to try them on and find out exactly what you wanted. Like I said, they're not 95, they're about 250 because they have them in sunglasses an extra 100 bucks and then plus extra options. These were these Zennis that I got, and those were, I just try to get the biggest lens. I thought they're kind of ugly, but like I said, they weren't 45, they were closer to around $80 and after all said and done. This is where those these glasses were from. I don't know that the pricing on AliExpress can be fairly. This isn't necessarily real pricing. They have all kinds of discounts and stuff, and a lot of times you got to get the lenses separately. This was the other ones. This was from this is where I got them from as well, Bobby Glasses store, and I think they were closer to $50. But I wouldn't recommend this seller because of if you have a problem, and they're difficult to work with. Though if you select a standard lens, it might work just fine. This company here, this was the other ones here that I said were about, I think they were about $30 all said. One of the nice things about this one here, this is where I bought them from as well, is that you can get the prescription right on here and you can select and put your prescription on in. If you need that pupillary distance, you can just use a tape measure, a ruler, and have someone help you. And for the most part, it should be just fine. You can select how far that is. I think it's millimeters if I remember right. But so these ones are pretty easy to get the exact lenses, glasses and lenses, because you don't have to do those lenses separately. These are the other ones here from iBuyDirect. Like I said, I think these were about $80 all said and done. Those are the American Optics. And it looks like they're starting at $250. Like I said, I don't think I would pay that for them, but I guess a lot of people want a brand name or whatever. When I'm searching on AliExpress, is kind of generally what I put in here. Polarized titanium sunglasses, man. I would, or woman if you want that, or you just delete it if you don't want any gendered styles. And you can see these ones are non-prescription. Most of them are non-prescription, but you can get them for super cheap. And if you want a prescription one, I use titanium prescription eyeglasses, and you can find all kinds of prescription eyeglasses. I like titanium just because it's about the lightest. Like I said, a lot of these prices aren't necessarily what the real price is. They might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but most of mine, they were $50 or under that I got from AliExpress, which was 4 pairs from AliExpress, 3 prescriptions. Anyway, that's a bit about the prescription eyeglasses. Hopefully it helps a bit. I don't know. I think I covered most of it. Like I said, I use these the most. These are everyday ones. I think these are great if you're working heavy equipment. The photochromatic lenses, these are nice in the evenings, but if I were to get just 2 pairs, I'd get probably like a polarized eyeglasses and a clear lens. I don't think I'll get these photochromatic ones again, just because I don't necessarily see a huge benefit to the photochromatic lenses myself. That's not to say that you might not, but that's just my opinion of it. Thanks a lot. Like I said, there's have zero affiliation with any of these companies. This is just my opinion of it after looking for quite a while and buying a bunch of different lenses, and just hopefully it helps if you are looking for glasses of some sort. Have a good day.